Hey guys, hi, how's it going? Okay, so to kick off, I would love if you can just introduce yourself into the chat. We've got this weird, awkward setup where you can see me, but I can't see you. So it's helpful for me to know who I'm talking to, who's participating in the workshop today. So introduce yourself, do exactly what Natasha did. So Natasha said she's a photographer living in New York. Tell me your name, city, and profession. Cool? Okay. Let's see, let me read what you guys are writing. Damon King is in Indianapolis. Very cool. Damon, what do you do for work? Freya, am I saying your name right? Freya? By the way, it's important for me to say people's names correctly, so if I say it wrong, just correct me. Just spell it out phonetically for me. Okay, so Freya is in Washington, D.C. and is a social entrepreneur. Cool. PJ is a photographer, graphic designer. Very cool. Milton is in Wichita and is an IT manager. Nice. Granison is in Los Angeles. Thomas is in Chicago. Hey, Thomas. Cool. Chris, Global Impact Coach and Adventure. Ooh, that's a great title. I love that. You guys have fun jobs. Okay. Kay is in New York. Oh, you're from New York. Or Kai, is it Kai or Kay? You're from New York, but you're in LA now. Beauty entrepreneur. Very cool. James is in Buffalo. Okay, keep introducing yourselves in the chat. I'm going to pull up some slides because I put together a really awesome presentation for you guys. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up my slides and share my screen while you guys are introducing yourselves in the chat. Okay, keep doing that. Hey, Denzel. Hey, LaWayne. How are you guys doing? Raven is in Houston, Texas. Very nice. Okay. Now let me know in the chat, let me know when you can see my screen. Sometimes it takes a second. Winton is in Pennsylvania, real estate investor. Awesome. Nebula is an entrepreneur and creative director. Melinda says, is this actually live? Absolutely. Yes, it is. We are right here together. And just for context, this is going to be a really interactive workshop. That's why I kind of asked you guys to introduce yourself in the chat. This is going to be interactive. I'm going to teach you some stuff. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. And then actually at the end of the workshop, I'm going to actually get on the phone with some of you guys and talk about your business with you. So I'm going to call you and put you on speakerphone. Some other people will hear, but there are also a lot of people are wondering some of the same things. So they'll get a lot out of it too. Okay, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me okay too? Some people are saying that they don't have volume. So I just want to make sure most people can hear me. Also, one quick little thing, two things before we start. If we get disconnected for any reason, or if we have any internet or connection issues for some reason, there's a little button at the top that says reconnect. Do you see that? It says like connection problems, reconnect. So you can click that link if for any reason we have some issues, or you can just refresh your browser. Sometimes it happens. And also, my colleague Taylor is here. She's in the chat. We'll see her pretty soon. And Taylor is here. She works on my team. She's going to be helping me answer questions as well. So we've got a whole team of people here to help you and make sure you guys have what you need to know about this whole app building process. Cool? Okay, you can hear me 5 out of 5. Awesome. Well, Damon said I had to hit the play button to see you. Yes, good. I'm glad you found it. All right, so obviously, we are here today to talk about this crazy concept of how to build an app without code and make money from it. Not just make an app that has lots of users and doesn't actually make you any money, but an app that without code that actually make money from it. Those two things have to go hand in hand. Otherwise, this whole thing falls apart, defeats the whole purpose, right? So how to build an app without code and make money from it. Now, I get a chance to actually work with a lot of different types of entrepreneurs. I get to coach a lot of entrepreneurs. And there are a couple commonalities across the entrepreneurs that I get a chance to coach. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a quick roll call. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the entrepreneurs that I often work with. And if you hear a type of entrepreneur that represents you, I want you to type the keyword into the chat for me. So, for example, type the word experienced into the chat if this is you. A lot of time I work with entrepreneurs who are experienced in their industry. They're like subject matter experts. So they know a lot about photography. They know a lot about being a barber. They know a lot about graphic design, or they know a lot about transportation. They know a lot about game apps, whatever it might be, right? Type experience into the chat if this is you. There's a particular area that you know a lot about. You kind of got some subject matter expertise. And if you'd like, tell me in the chat what the thing is that you're experienced in. I'm curious to know. Is it fashion? Is it, co-working spaces? Just if you have some subject matter expertise. Cool. Now, the second type of entrepreneur that I often work with, I call them the super ambitious entrepreneur. Type ambitious into the chat if this is you. And this entrepreneur is usually like, hey, Tara, I have 4 different app ideas. I can't even figure out which one to start with. I have so many ideas. Type ambitious into the chat if this is you. Or another way that this super ambitious entrepreneur often shows up is people say, hey, Tara, I have one idea and I'm laser focused on this idea. I'm going to get this thing launched no matter what. So type ambitious, Irvin, put ambitious in all caps. Yeah, absolutely. Aisha says, wow, that's me, ambitious. Yeah. Okay, and then the third type of entrepreneur that I often get a chance to work with, type small business into the chat if this is you. And this is an entrepreneur who's already run a small business before. Maybe it wasn't a tech business or an app, but this is not their first time at the rodeo being an entrepreneur. So type small business into the chat. You already have some experience running a small business before, right? Now, whether you fit into these categories or not, a lot of you guys are in the same boat because you're wondering some of the same questions. And I know this because these were the questions that I was asking when I got started as a tech entrepreneur. So I was like, wait a minute, I see all these people doing this tech startup thing. How do I get in on this tech startup stuff? Or how do I test my startup idea without spending a crap ton of money that I don't necessarily have? Or what do I do if I don't have $10,000, $20,000 just lying around to hire someone to build my app idea? Or what if I don't want to outsource my app idea to some stranger who may steal the idea? Or how do I even know if this app is going to be a good use of my time in the first dang on place? Right? Like, these are the questions for a lot of you guys that are swirling around in your head. I know this because these are the questions I was asking myself. And figuring out the answers to a lot of these questions are important for many of you because you have an idea that you cannot stop thinking about. Like, you cannot get this thing out of your head. So you're like, wait a minute, what if I use technology to build this? What kind of impact could I have? What kind of money could I make? Right? Like, you're sitting at work every day thinking about this thing. A lot of you guys have this idea you cannot get out of your head, right? Let me know in the chat if this is you. And for some of you guys, some other of you, figuring out the answers to all this tech entrepreneurship stuff is super important because some of you guys are on the hamster wheel at work. I know this was me when I was first starting. I was like going like this. I was running fast at work, but I was not really getting much of anywhere. So I was like, wait a minute, when do I get to the next level of my career? When am I going to get a chance to live the kind of life that I actually want to live? Kind of Ashley said, this is so me, exclamation points. Yeah, right. And other of you guys, some of you guys in the chat, figuring out the answers to all these questions are super important because you don't know how to create a profitable app. Some of you guys, I actually saw in the chat, some of you guys have experience with tech. You built websites before. Maybe you've even built an app before, but you're not sure how to make a profitable app, right? And other of you guys are in the complete opposite camp. So you're not that worried about getting a profitable business. You know a little bit about business, but you have absolutely no clue how to make an app, right? So how to create a profitable app and make those two things go together. So you're wondering, do I have to hire someone? Do I need a co-founder? Where the heck do I even start? Right. So I want to invite you really quickly to do an activity. Oh, there's Taylor in the chat. Everyone say hi to Taylor. So I want to invite you to do a quick activity with me. And this is an activity that I actually do with myself to envision where I want to go next as an entrepreneur. It's like a visualizing activity. So if you want, you can close your eyes and do this activity. If that's too corny, you can keep your eyes open and type in the chat. But I want you to imagine what your life looks like. Imagine what your life looks like when you have thousands of people who are using something that you built. Thousands of people who are using something that you built and created. It could be tens of thousands. It could be millions of people who are using something that you created? What would that be like? What would that feel like? If you have ideas, you can type them in the chat. What would that be like and change for you? Or imagine what your life looks like if you are recognized as a thought leader in your space. So everyone knows that not only do you write about this topic and you speak about this topic, but you also build apps and businesses around this topic as well, right? Well, how would that change things for your life? What would that be like for you? Kai says, K or Kai says it would feel like a dream. Mina says I can go fishing all day. Cece says life-changing. Yeah, absolutely. Or what would your life look like if you had a team of people helping you? I don't mean like a big, huge team. It doesn't have to be a big, huge team. It could be 1 or 2 people, right? But a team of people so you knew that you could walk away from the business for a week, or you could walk away for a month and everything would be fine, right? A team of people helping you. James said it would look like I'd be busy and my money issues would be put to rest. Yeah. Awesome. Milton said a higher level of service and accountability to my users / people. Absolutely. These are great answers, guys. Or imagine what your life looks like when you're bringing in $300,000 plus a year in revenue. What would that look like for you? What would that feel like? What would that change for you? Yeah. Yeah. A lot of you guys are kind of getting inspired by some of this. So I want to share with you what happened to me. Because in 2014, I had an idea for an app. And in 3 days, I launched a really ugly website. So 3 days from when I came up with the idea, I launched this really ugly website. You can see it right here on the page. And it says, become an art collector, get a personal stylist for your walls, right? So I just want to point out that I came up with the idea on a Monday. And by Thursday, I had launched this website. It wasn't a beautiful website. It wasn't perfect. But I started putting things out there in just a couple days. And in the first year of launching my startup, I had thousands of people who were customers who were using something that I had built. In addition to that, I generated over $150,000 in revenue in that first year. And I also made my first $300,000 in investments from investors who said, here's some money, we really like what you're doing, we want to see you take this to the next level, here's some money to do that, right? So I took some really specific strategic steps in year 1, really specific. And the exact steps that I took are what I'm going to share with you guys today. So that's what we're talking about here. So I actually like to be super transparent about what we're going to be talking about. So I outlined it here on the screen for you. The purpose of our workshop today is for me to share the keys to building your own app without you having to be a tech genius. Some of you guys are tech geniuses, that's fine, but without you having to be a tech genius. I'm also going to walk you through a new way to approach making money with your startup idea. And then I'm also, because a lot of you guys have been emailing me about this, and Taylor, who some people were asking, wait a minute, who's Taylor? Taylor is in the chat. Her name is in blue. She works on my team, and she'll be helping me answer questions this evening. So I'm going to also explain how you can work alongside me, because a lot of you guys have been asking about this, to get your startup idea launched and attract your first customers, like actually some help implementing the things you learn into your business. Cool? Okay, before we dive into all of the details, I want to just quickly introduce myself, because not all of us have met before. I haven't met all of you before. And so I want to introduce myself. You might be wondering, wait a minute, who is this lady that I'm talking to right now? So my name is Tara Reed, and I am a tech entrepreneur. Before becoming an entrepreneur, I led marketing initiatives at Google, Foursquare, and Microsoft. So my background is in tech, but in the business side and as a marketer, not necessarily, I wasn't ever building the apps or building the technology at these companies. I was sitting near and working with those people who were building the apps, but I had no clue how to build an app myself. I just knew about business. And in 2014, I founded a really successful art startup, and I built the company's app and algorithm without writing any code. And so since then, I've helped launch over 150 apps and tech startups. And I've been really blessed to be featured in some awesome publications. Entrepreneur Magazine featured me in their Young Millionaires edition last year. Forbes has done really fun articles on how to succeed in Silicon Valley when you don't look like Mark Zuckerberg. And I've also done a really fun TED Talk that has over 200,000 views. But I want to be super transparent in sharing that things have not always been like this for me in terms of lots of success and getting lots of recognition as an entrepreneur. That's not how it started. I'm going to be super transparent about this. So I want to kind of give you some context about my story and how I got here too, because I think it'll be helpful for you guys. Oh, Bree says, yes, honey, girl boss. Thank you. So I want to rewind a little bit because it's 2014 when I get started with all this. It was 2014, and at the time I was living in Seattle. And I was working a 9-to-5 job on the Microsoft marketing team. So just like a lot of you guys, I was working a 9-to-5 job when I started this. And by the way, I totally hated my job. Like, this was not the right job for me. My boss was kind of a jerk. It just like, I did not enjoy this job. And one day I was on Twitter and I was scrolling through my tweets and I saw this tweet. And it says, are you in New York City and have an idea for a side project you keep meaning to work on? There's this summer boot camp from this guy named Gary. It's going to be a huge help. Check it out. Here's the link. Right? So I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed and I see this post. And I click on the link. I read a little bit about the program. The program looks interesting. So I apply to the program. I have an interview for the program. I get accepted to the program, but there's one problem. And this one problem is probably very obvious to all of you. It just like, I don't know how I missed it. It just, I didn't have it together. And the problem was that I lived in Seattle and the program was in New York City. So on the opposite side of the country. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I got into this program, I'm really excited about it, but I don't even know how I'm gonna make this work. I don't even know how I'm gonna do this program. So long story short, I make it work. I fly to New York every single week to do this program. So on Monday, I fly to New York. I take all of my meetings because I worked from a tech company, so it was okay to work remotely sometimes. I took all of my meetings from the phone or video chat on Mondays. I took my class Monday evening, and then I immediately flew back to be back in the office on Tuesday. And I did this back and forth every single week for an entire summer, and I make it work. Right? And during this program, I launched a really ugly version of my website in 3 days. This is what it looked like. And I started publicly promoting my app from day one. I was saying things like, hey, my startup Collecto is featured on Product Hunt today. Please check it out, upvote it, etc. By the way, I want to point out that it felt really, really strange to be calling what I was doing a startup at this point. It literally was just me and an idea. I didn't have an app. I barely had a website. I wasn't even sure how I was going to help people become art collectors. I didn't even have a plan. But nonetheless, I was publicly promoting my app from day one because I wanted to see, are people interested in this, right? And then I did this thing where I put this button on my website. And the button said, join the waitlist. And what this join the waitlist button did was it allowed me to create excitement and also manage workload. Let me break down what I mean by that. So it helped me manage workload because I did not have everything figured out yet, right? So having a join the waitlist button allowed me to put up my website and start promoting without having everything figured out. And then because I had a waitlist, I could take people slowly off the waitlist, 1 at a time, 5 at a time, 10 at a time, 100 at a time, etc., right? It also created excitement. People went, oh my gosh, this must be really cool. There's a waitlist. Let me sign up. Right? So I put a join the waitlist button on my site, which created excitement and also helped me manage workload while I figured everything else out. Right? But remember, I'm doing all of this while I was working my 9-to-5 job. So I was just working on this on evenings and weekends, kind of how many of you are thinking about working on some of your ideas on evenings and weekends, right? So I'm working this 9-to-5 job as I'm doing all of this. And all of a sudden, Microsoft lays off 80,000 people. And I'm one of them. So in the middle of all of this, I completely lose my job. I had started launching the business, but I just started. So it wasn't enough to fully sustain me or pay for my salary, you know, just getting started. I was just beginning. I lose my job in the middle of all of this. Right? So here's what I do. I give myself 3 months. I'm like, okay, Tara, you got 3 months to try this whole entrepreneurship thing. If you can make it work, great. And if not, you got to go back and find a job. So I give myself 3 months to try it as an entrepreneur. During those 3 months, I started getting lots of feedback from customers, potential customers, and making changes based on that feedback. I immediately started talking to people and understanding what they wanted and what they needed from me inside of the app, right? And the first version of the app that I built made me my first $35,000 in sales, and got me my first $100,000 investment from 500 Startups, which is a big tech accelerator in Silicon Valley. So I started blogging about my journey building apps without code. I did a fun TED Talk. Some of you guys mentioned in the chat that you actually seen my TED Talk on building apps without code. I did a fun TED Talk on it. And I also started coaching other entrepreneurs. I coached an entrepreneur named Josh who had an idea for an app to teach music to students and to give this app to schools who had had their budgets cut for music programs. And Josh now has 23 schools who are paying him money to use his app. And I coached another entrepreneur named Patrick who had some subject matter expertise. He was experienced in a particular industry. He happened to know a lot about manufacturing. And he built an app to help manufacturing plants become more efficient. And his first customer, was Coca-Cola, who paid him money to use his app in their factories. So overall, I've helped entrepreneurs generate over $1 million in app launch revenue. So what we're going to talk about today, because you might be wondering, wait a minute, what the heck happened? What happened in between me getting laid off from my job to building this $1 million tech empire? Like, what exactly happened in the middle? So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Cool? All right. So are you guys ready for me to break this down? We're going to talk about how to build an app without code. Let me know in the chat if you are ready for me to break this down for you. Veselina says, whoa, yeah. Let me know in the chat if you're ready for me to break this down. How to build an app without code and make money from it. Andrew says, I got laid off from JP Morgan. I feel you. Yeah, it happens. Okay, Grayson's giving me the praise hands. Got it. See some ready, some all caps. Who says yes, break it down? You guys are moving this very fast. Okay, got it. I think that's a yes. Are you ready? Okay. All right. And I think most of you guys can see, I believe. Got it. Guy says I got laid off from PepsiCo. Yeah, it happens, guys. It happens. All right. So how to build an app without code and make money from it. That's what I'm going to break down today. So here's an overview of what you're going to learn. Secret number one, you can create an app in just a few weeks by blank. I'm going to fill in that blank for you. Secret number two, the very first thing you should do as soon as you come up with an idea for an app, the very first thing you should do is create a blank. I'm going to fill in this gap for you. And then secret number three is how to work with me to launch your startup idea. Because a lot of you guys have been asking about this and how to actually implement things, not just learn about things, but actually implement them in your business. Got it. Before I move on, just to be clear, I know you guys can see and hear me. Can you also see my slides? I think you can, but who knows? Just want to make sure. Let me know if you can also see my slides. Okay, good, good. All right. Good. Lots of yeses. Okay, thanks for the chat, guys. All right, so let's jump right into this. Secret number one, you can create an app in just a few days by using code-free tools that use logic. Code-free tools that use logic. Let me break down what I mean by that. Let me break that down. So most people think when they come up with an idea for an app, most people think that the first thing that they need to do is find an expensive agency to build the first version of their app for them. Let me know in the chat if any of you guys have kind of taken this approach where you've talked to a company or an agency and they've told you how much it would cost for them to build your app for you. Let me know in the chat, and it would be helpful to hear too how much they said it would cost. Just curious. You know, a lot of people think that this is the first thing that they need to do is find an agency, right? I see lots of yeses in the chat. Some people have done this. And the challenge with taking this route is that on average, it's going to cost you $20,000 to have someone build your app for you. I know for me, when I started, I just didn't have that kind of money to spend. Right? Okay. Matthew says agencies at 650K. Oh my goodness. Got it. Starting price around 10K, depending on the features you want to add. 10K just for the first day, then about 20K. Got it. Yeah. So on average, you're going to see about $20,000 to fully end-to-end finish your app. If people are telling you way less, then there's something missing there. So the only problem with taking this route is a lot of people just don't have this kind of money laying around to have someone build their app, right? Now, other people think that the first thing that they need to do as soon as they come up with their idea for their app is they need to find a tech-savvy business partner. Anyone working on trying to find their tech-savvy business partner? Anyone trying to find that person? Been trying to find them? There's nothing wrong with taking this approach. The only challenge with it is that it takes a while to find the right person. And finding the right person to be your tech partner is like almost as important as finding the right person to marry, right? Like this is a partnership that's going to be long-term. If you guys end up having a hard time or not getting along, it could really change the trajectory of your business. And so finding a tech-savvy business partner becomes problematic. Your whole team becomes problematic, particularly when you don't have a bunch of money up front because you've got to find the right person, right? Got it. Now, other people think, okay, I've got an idea for an app. Here's the thing I need to do. The first thing I need to do is teach myself the basics of how to code. Let me know in the chat if any of you guys have been working on teaching yourselves the basics of how to code. You've been kind of trying to learn this. Let me know in the chat if anyone's learning how to code. Again, there's nothing wrong with taking this approach. The only challenge is that it takes over a year for you to get proficient enough in writing code so that you can build the level of complexity of the app that you want. It takes over a year for you to do that. And for a lot of us, we just don't have a year to learn some stuff before we even get started with the business. So what happens is that most people completely put their app idea on the back burner. They're like, oh, it's not possible. I'm not a tech person. I haven't found my tech-savvy business partner yet. These people are telling me it's going to cost too much. It's taking a really long time for me to learn how to code to actually build a fully functioning app, right? Kamisha says, I've just used Wix. Wix will do some of the stuff that you want, but there's some other things that you may want to do too, right? And so a lot of people just think, oh my gosh, it's completely impossible. I'm not a tech person. So they put their idea completely on the back burner, right? Completely on the back burner. And they never launch the idea. This is what happens for most people. For a lot of you guys, you've found yourself in this boat. But actually, you don't have to do any of those things that I just mentioned. You have to do any of those things. Veselina says, I feel like you're reading my mind. I've done all of those things. Yeah, absolutely. And tell me if I'm saying your name incorrectly, by the way. That's important. So actually, you can create apps by using code-free software. You don't have to do any of those things. You can instead use code-free software. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Code-free tools or code-free software lets you design apps by dragging, dropping, pointing, and clicking, just like you would design a PowerPoint presentation. You drag, drop, point, click. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English, not in some other language that you have to learn, but in English, which you already know, right? So you design the app by drag, drop, point, click. You just put everything on the page the way you want. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English. Now, a logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. A logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. Let me give you an example of a logic statement that you already understand. Right? It's an easy example. If I push the first domino, then the other dominoes will fall. If I push the first domino, then the other dominoes will fall. There's nothing confusing about this sentence. Everybody understands this sentence. If this, then that. Very simple sentence structure, right? Let me give you another example. If the user clicks the button, then log them in, right? If this, then that. There's nothing confusing about this sentence. We all understand this, right? So my tip for you is to find a logic-based software to build your app. There are a ton of logic-based software tools out there that you can use to create your app. You don't have to use all of them. You just have to choose the best one or two that are right for your business and for what you're trying to build, right? So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna walk you through some examples of logic-based software tools that you can use to create your app. I'm gonna start with some beginner ones, and then we'll get fancier as we go over time. Cool? Sound good? Got it. Arnell says this is brilliant. I haven't even gotten to the good examples yet, Arnell. I'm glad you like it. So the first tool that I want to show you are surveys. Now, I'm not talking about surveys for collecting feedback. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about using surveys in a way that they're not traditionally intended to create custom portals for your customers. So what I'm showing you right now on the screen is an example of one of the first apps that the first version of the app that I built for my first company, Collecto. And so the first screen you see is a custom portal for every customer. It allows them to enter and see the art, and it's personalized for everyone. So there's art for Natasha, art for Steven, art for Mina, art for Bree, etc. And people could go in and see their art recommendations, and they could rate them on a 1 through 5 scale, and all that information would get saved, and we'd start learning about their taste over time. Now, many surveys have built-in logic. Built-in logic. So I'll give you an example of this because you've kind of actually seen something like this before. You just maybe didn't know. So let's say you're taking a survey and it's like, what's your favorite color? That's one of the questions. And it gives you multiple choice. And you choose purple. And then it asks you a second question. And it's like, okay, great. Why do you like purple? So what it's doing is showing you an intelligent second question based on your answer to the first question. It's showing something intelligent based on what you said or what it knows about you, right? So that is kind of the built-in logic. If this, then that. So the software tool that you're exactly seeing right now on the screen, and the one that I recommend when it comes to surveys, is Typeform. Typeform is the name of the tool. It's called Typeform. So that's the first example. Surveys. You can use them to create custom portals for your customers. Here's another example, spreadsheets. Let me know in the chat, any of you like Excel or good at Excel? Any Excel folks here? Also, you can tell me in the chat if you hate Excel too. That's also acceptable. Let me know if you like Excel in the chat. Now, you can use spreadsheets to create really awesome dashboards and kind of custom dashboards for your customers. You can calculate things. You can show and hide different information. You can rearrange all sorts of things around and do all sorts of great things to create these dashboards for your customers. And you can use spreadsheets to do that. Okay, I see some mixed reviews here on Excel. It's okay if you hate Excel. This is just one example. However, if you are familiar with Excel, you know something about if statements. If this, then that. And you can do all sorts of calculations and show different things based on logic and create dashboards for your customers. Zapier is another really cool tool that you should use. Let me know in the chat if you've heard of Zapier before. Zapier is a tool that allows you to connect different softwares together, almost like the back end of what your app would do, where it's making everything speak to each other. So I'll give you an example. With Zapier, you can say when someone sends you an email, then take the attachment from the email and save it to Dropbox, and it automatically does it. Or when someone fills out your sign-up form for your app, then take all of their sign-up information and put it into a spreadsheet so you have a database of all your customers, right? So you can use Zapier to connect all your different software tools together and make them speak to each other. Natasha says, what about APIs? Zapier pretty much is the connector for all of your APIs, except you don't have to write any code or know anything about APIs. If you're not sure what an API is, it's just a thing that makes apps talk to each other. Okay. Cool. I'll give you another example, Wix. Now, somebody actually mentioned Wix earlier. Most people know about Wix for creating websites. However, you can also use Wix to create apps. that have custom login portals for your customers. They can log in with their email and their password. You can create kind of Yelp-like rating and review systems, kind of like what you're seeing on the screen. You can create flight booking systems. People can go in and say, I want to book my flight on this date, and I want a window seat or an aisle seat, and I want a vegetarian meal, and book the entire flight. So you can create these login portals where people have kind of a login username and password, and you can put anything you want behind it. So I'm not talking about Wix for websites. You can also use Wix for creating apps that your customers can log into. Now, I told you we were going to get a little fancier as we go along. So AppSheet is a really cool tool. AppSheet allows you to take a spreadsheet of information and instantly turn it into an app. So you can visualize different images inside the app. You can show different locations on a map. You can have people type things in, sign for things, show things on graphs and charts, do all sorts of stuff like that. And the app can be available on iPhone, on Android, or it can be available on the web. So AppSheet allows you to take a spreadsheet of information and instantly turn it into an interactive app. Mighty Networks is another really cool tool. Mighty Networks allows you to create your own social network app. So everybody gets their own profile. People can like each other and follow each other. There's a feed of posts where people are posting and they can comment on each other's posts and like each other's posts, etc. And again, you can put this app on iPhone, on Android, or be available on the web. So Mighty Networks allows you to create your own social network app. ShareTribe allows you to create a marketplace app without writing any code. Now, what do I mean by marketplace app? Well, a marketplace app is an app where people buy and sell things from each other. So think like Airbnb, right? There's somebody who says, I have my apartment available, and there's someone who says, I want to rent it, and they do this exchange in a marketplace together. So you can kind of see on the side of the screen, there's some examples. People can post different things, whatever they want. They can book them from each other, exchange information. So ShareTribe allows you to create your own marketplace app without writing any code. Denzel says this is amazing with a lightning bolt. I love it. Motion AI allows you to create artificial intelligence chatbots without writing any code. Stencil allows you to create video games without writing any code. And again, these video games can be available on iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows, or on the web. Here's no coding required for any of these tools I'm telling you about. Here's an example of a video game that was created by someone who had a cool idea for a game but had no idea how to write any code. And then there's some more advanced tools that you can use for building an app without code. Some more advanced ones. An example of an advanced one is called Bubble. So the way that you use Bubble is you design the app by drag, drop, point, click. You just put whatever you want on the page, kind of like how you would design a PowerPoint presentation. You just drag it on there. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English, not in some other language you have to learn, but in English, which you already know, right? So this is what the English sentences part looks like. This is the part that replaces the code. This is the part that replaces the code. So for example, it says, when the page is loaded, then do something. Or when the page is loaded and the user is not logged in, then show the pop-up that tells them to log in. And it literally says that in English, not in some other language. So I want to show you an example of an app that was built using one of those more advanced tools that I just showed you, like Bubble. And the example that I'm going to show you is called Not Real Twitter. NotRealTwitter.com is the example that I'm going to show you. And I want to read to you the introduction of Not Real Twitter because it makes a really interesting and important statement about what is now possible for people like me and you who have great ideas for apps but don't know how to code or don't want to spend the time coding. So let me read to you the introduction of Not Real Twitter. This is what it says. It says, welcome to Not Real Twitter. Just like Twitter, but worse. A lot worse. The purpose of this site isn't to steal Twitter's business or to give people a chance at a fresh social media start. It is to show the future of software development. Because in 2025, most software won't be made by coders, but instead by people from diverse backgrounds using logic. The person who built this site isn't a software engineer. He didn't use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python, etc. Those are all coding languages. In fact, he didn't write a single line of code. Enjoy Not Real Twitter, and then it closes with a quick note to Twitter. Please don't sue us. So this is the introduction to Not Real Twitter. You close out of the introduction to Not Real Twitter and you're on the homepage of Not Real Twitter. And here is where you can log in with your username and password for Not Real Twitter. Or if you've never been to Not Real Twitter before, you can create an account for yourself with your name and your email and a password and create a username for yourself. And once you log in to Not Real Twitter, you are on the inside of Not Real Twitter, where you can post tweets, you can like tweets, you can retweet tweets, you can reply to tweets and start a thread of conversations underneath that tweet. You can see recommendations on who to follow based on who's posting similar content to you. You can upload a profile photo. You can see how many tweets you've done. You can see how many people you're following, how many people are following you. You can see all the notifications of people who are mentioning you and talking to you. You can send direct messages one-on-one. Pretty much anything you can do on Real Twitter, you can also do on Not Real Twitter. And this was created in just a few weeks by someone like me and you who had no idea how to code, but use some of those more advanced code-free software tools that I showed you, like Bubble. So I like to show this as an example of the extensive amount of stuff that you can do without code, right? So I want to also be transparent and tell you that I showed you a bunch of different tools, right? We talked about some beginning ones, some intermediate ones, and some advanced ones, right? Bubble is one of the more advanced ones. So Bubble has a learning curve to it because it's a more advanced tool. What I mean by that is it takes about 2 months for you to get really good at it versus, but compare that, right? 2 months to get really good at it, but compare that to 2 years that it takes to get really good at coding, right? So big difference here. We're talking about a big difference, but I like to be transparent in saying that the more advanced tools that you can use have a learning curve. What I recommend you do actually is use one of the more beginning ones first and then move on to a tool like Bubble. Actually, don't recommend that you start with Bubble. But Bubble has a learning curve. Just want to say that up front. So that is secret number 1. You can create an app in just a few days by using code-free tools that use logic. Code-free tools that use logic. This is Josh. Josh is an entrepreneur that I've had the pleasure of coaching. Josh built an app for schools to teach music classes, an app for schools to be able to teach music classes. When he started working with me, he actually already had an after-school program. So what happened was he had a place where students could come after school and they could learn about producing music and making music. Right? But he wanted to expand the business and he wanted to be able to have schools have access to this too. So working with him since doing bootcamp, which is the training program that I have when I work with folks, he has 23 schools who are now working with him to have paying him money as customers. He's done over $30,000 in revenue. And he's gotten over $50,000 in investments from people saying, here's some money, we love what you're doing, we want to see you take this to the next level. And he did all of this in 6 months. So he has a platform where the students are able to log in, they're able to do lessons and homework assignments, the teacher is able to go in and grade the assignments, they can work and collaborate with different students in their class, they can actually load and drag and drop different pieces of music to mix actual clips of music and submit it as an assignment. It's very cool. And Josh says, this app is definitely a revenue generating endeavor. I did not know it would grow as quickly as it did. We got television and radio interviews in the process. It's been a blessing. So that is secret number 1. You can create an app in just a few days by using code-free tools that use logic. Code-free tools that use logic. Cool? Okay. Can I move on to secret number 2? Is that all right? Awesome. Okay, secret number 2. The very first thing you should do as soon as you come up with your idea, the very first thing you should do is create an invisible app. Create an invisible app. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So most people think that the first thing that they should do as soon as they come up with an idea for their app is they should build something called an MVP. Anyone heard of an MVP before? Let me know in the chat if you've heard of that before. Essentially, it stands for minimum viable product. It is a fancy tech term to mean like the first fancy version of your product. That's what it means, right? So a lot of people think this is the first thing that they need to build. But actually, instead, you should start with an invisible app. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So to show you what I mean by that, what I want to do is I want to show you the first versions of Google, Facebook, YouTube, I think some sites that you've heard of before, because they teach us something really important about starting small. So this is the first version of Facebook. Anyone remember this? Anyone remember this is the first version of Facebook? What I love about this is that, they weren't even sure exactly what they were doing. They weren't sure if it was Facebook or the Facebook. They weren't sure if it was going to be uppercase or lowercase t on the Facebook, all sorts of things like this, right? They didn't have it all figured out. Pretty much all you could do was log in, find people at their school, and poke them. That's pretty much it, right? Anyone remember this? Anyone remember this? Yeah, some people do, some people know. I'm not sure about that. Yeah. Even this is fancier than what you need for the first version of your app. There's more than what you need. Anyone remember this? This is what the first version of Twitter looked like. Anyone remember this? I don't know if you guys know this, but Twitter actually launched as an SMS text-based service. So all you did was you typed in your tweet and it sent a text message to all of your friends with the tweet. That was it. It just sent text messages. Right? Anyone remember this? Sharon says, wow. Yeah, got it. Even this is fancier than what you need. A lot of times we think that the first version of our product needs to be perfect. And it doesn't. Facebook didn't do it that way. Twitter didn't do it that way. No one launched that way, right? So when you think about your app ideas journey, I want you to think about it as a 5-step process. Step 1, you come up with the idea. Many of you guys have done this already. You're check on step 1, done, right? Step 2 is to create an invisible app. An invisible app. I'm going to explain more in a moment about what exactly I mean by that. Step 3 is to create an MVP. This is the first fancy version of your app, right? And then you're going to iterate, because you're not going to get it perfect on the first try. You're just not, no matter how brilliant you are. And you're going to iterate until you hit something called product market fit, which means you have the right product for the right audience. Right product for the right audience. Now, what most people do, many people do, is they try to jump all the way from step 1 all the way over to step 3. They do this for maybe 1 or 2 reasons. One, they maybe don't know that step 2 exists, right? Some people don't know that step 2 exists, so they have trouble getting there because they just don't even know that it's there, right? And some people skip this step because they're like, they're cocky about it. They're like, I don't need to do the linear steps. I can just skip steps. I'll just jump over that step, right? So these are kind of the 2 things that often happen for people. Now, what ends up happening, this is important. This is why most startups fail. This is why most startups fail. Is because what happens is people try to jump all the way from step 1 all the way over to step 3. And what happens is they end up falling through the cracks because they refuse to take the linear steps required to launch their business. Linear steps required to launch their business. So I often tell people, don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Jamila says, I don't remember the basic starts to the major sites. Yeah, this is what I'm saying about don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. A lot of times what you're looking at, even when you think you're looking at the early version, that wasn't even the first version. That wasn't even how they started. A lot of times as founders, we get stuck in our heads that the thing we have to build has to be perfect before we launch it. And that is not how anyone did it. That's not the roadmap to success at all, right? But sometimes we think that because we compare our beginning to someone else's middle, right? So What is an invisible app? I've been mentioning this thing called an invisible app. It's a thing that you do right after you come up with the idea. But what the heck is an invisible app? Well, an invisible app is an app that has no logins, no passwords. There's nothing in the app store. And customers love them because you come to them instead of making them download yet another app. How many times have you guys downloaded an app and forgotten about it? Or downloaded an app and you couldn't get back in because you forgot the password? Right? Like this happens all the time. In 2018, the world of apps that you download onto your phone from the app store is extremely saturated. Ariana says all the time with lots of ease. Yeah, absolutely. The world of apps that you download onto your phone is extremely saturated. And actually, when you look at it, people don't even have that many apps on their phone. They've got like a couple core ones that they use. People aren't even day-to-day using that many apps, right? So, and that's just one kind of app, by the way. There's other kinds of apps. The app doesn't have to be one that you download in the app store. There are other kinds of apps. So, an invisible app doesn't have anything in the app store. You don't make them download yet another app. And instead, what you do is you come to them. You come to where they already are, and you deliver value, the value of your app, the value that your app would have, via something that they already have, like SMS text messaging, or email, or URLs to simple portals. You can use surveys to do this, or simple pages, etc. In other words, you don't make them remember another password. You don't make them remember their login. You deliver all of your value via text message, emails, URLs to portals, etc. Let me show you some examples of what I mean by this. I'm going to show you two. First, I'm going to give you a quick story. I'm going to give you one of my own examples of how I built an invisible app, and then I'm going to show you another example. So I remember, if you remember, earlier on I said that, when I first launched my first company, I built this ugly website to become an art collector, get a personal stylist for your walls. And on the website, there was a place to sign up so people could type in information about their tastes and what their budget was, etc. And so the way that the invisible app worked is there was a landing page for people to sign up. And then there was a place for people to actually do the signing up, to type in their sign up information. Now, all that sign up information got sent to a spreadsheet, which operated like my back-end database with all my customer information. And every time there was a new row added to the spreadsheet, I would set it up so that it would automatically send an email to the customer with a link to their custom portal. I used a survey for this, but I used it to create custom portals for the customers. And this link had their art recommendations in it. So this is exactly what it looked like. First of all, it was personalized for everyone. It said art for Tara, art for Habby, art for Jamila, art for Ronald, etc. Right? And people could log in and they could see their art recommendations. Now, to create this, in order to create this, I use a simple survey tool. I use Typeform, and then later on I use Survey Gizmo. Those are the names of the tools that I use. And what I did was I used the built-in logic inside of the survey. So if someone said that they like photography, I would show all the photography and hide everything else. It would automatically do that. Or if someone liked photography and had a budget of $500 and below, I would show all the photography under $500 and hide everything else. And people would email me and they'd say, oh my gosh, Tara, this is so cool. I love your app. And little did they know that I spent $35 a month, $35 a month to build this software tool, to build this app for all the customers. Now, that first invisible app, that exact invisible app that I just showed you, made me my first $35,000 in sales and got me my first $100,000 investment from 500 Stars, which is a big accelerator. So I often tell people this too when they start to getting all really excited about all these things and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to wait until my app is perfect. I often tell them this. If you're not embarrassed of the first version of your product, then you've launched too late. This is a quote from Reid Hoffman. He's the founder of LinkedIn. I'm going to say it again so this sinks in for you. If you're not embarrassed of the first version of your product, then you've launched too late. So what is an invisible app again? Just to recap. An invisible app is an app that has no logins, no passwords, there's nothing in the app store, and customers love them because you come to them using something that they already have. Like SMS text messages, or emails, or URLs to simple portals and pages, etc. Let me give you one more example of an invisible app. This example is called Magic. Magic is the name of the company. They've been really successful. And their website says, upgrade your life with a 24/7 personal assistant. This is what the website says. And here's how it works. Literally, Magic is just a phone number that you can text. That's all it is, a phone number that you can text. And it says Magic responds 24/7 within seconds to minutes. Magic manages a team of trained assistants for you. Magic improves over time by learning your preferences, and they'll also work on anything you give it as long as it's legal, right? So here's how some of the things you can do on Magic. You can say, oh my gosh, I'm at the airport and I completely forgot my passport. Can someone please go back to my apartment for me and get it for me? Or, oh my goodness, I'm at my kid's school and I totally forgot today was Halloween. Can someone please bring me a Spider-Man costume by 3 p.m.? Or, oh my gosh, can someone help me create content for my blog? Now, in 2015, Magic raised $12 million from investors. Sequoia is the name of the big investor. At a $40 million valuation. Literally, all this thing is a phone number that you can text. That's all, right? So again, a lot of times we think that the first version of the app we need to build needs to be super, super fancy. It does not. That is not how anyone is finding success. It's false, right? So again, one more time. What the heck is an invisible app? An invisible app is an app that has no logins, no passwords. There's nothing to download in the App Store. And instead, customers love them because you come to them. You deliver value via SMS, emails, URLs, simple pages, portals, etc. So my tip for you is to test your idea with an invisible app. No programming skills required. And that is secret number 2. The very first thing you should do is create an invisible app. Cool. Let me just check in with you guys. Is this helpful? Are you guys learning stuff here? Let me know in the chat. Pean, I think I'm saying your name right, P-E-A-N. Gizmo can talk to Zapier. Yep, absolutely. All the tools I'm showing you can connect to Zapier. Okay, let me know if this is helpful, if you guys are learning some stuff here. I just want to check in. Okay, Elliot says very. Arnell says so much. Okay, good, 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 good. Awesome. Learning lots. Very, very helpful. Okay, I'm so glad. Devin says most deaf. Good. Okay, so, oh, good. Elliot said this is what I needed. Oh, good. Okay, glad. So, here's a quick recap of what we've learned thus far. Secret number 1, you can create an app in just a few weeks by using code-free tools that use logic. They're using code-free tools that use logic. Secret number 2, the very first thing you should do as soon as you come up with your idea for your app is create an invisible app. A lot of times people think that the first version of your app needs to be perfect, 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 perfect. It doesn't. You can create a very simple version of this to start making real money. And secret number 3 is how to work with me to launch your startup idea. Ray is saying in the chat, we need more. A lot of you guys are trying to figure out, wait a minute, I'm learning all of this stuff, right? I'm learning a bunch of new stuff, but how do I actually get it implemented for my personal idea? So I want to talk to you guys about this really quickly. So how many of you guys want to take some of the stuff that you're learning and take it to the next level and actually implement it? Let me know in the chat if you want to take some of the stuff that you're learning to the next level. And by the way, I'm going to come back and answer questions in one moment. Cool. All right. Let me know if you want to implement some of these things into your business. So I have this program that I do. It's called Apps Without Code Bootcamp. And really what it is an opportunity for us to work together for the next 2 months, like on your business, getting it up and running. And so the program includes a couple things, but really in a sense, it's personalized coaching. I put together also a bunch of video tutorials that walk you through all the steps that you need to know. And then also you get the community that you need, like the support network that you need to start getting your app users, to get your app built, and to start making money. Pretty much what I did here was I took all the stuff I wish I knew when I was getting started, like all the stuff I wish I knew that took me, frankly, it took me about 2 years to learn all this stuff on my own. And I took all the stuff that I wish I knew and I put it together in a program for you guys. That's what it is. So question for you, and let me know in the chat, What if you could get my help and launch your app business in the next 60 days? Type I'm in the chat if you'd be in for that. Type I'm in the chat if you'd be in for that. Or what if you could have weekly access to your own startup coach? Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be into that. Type hashtag I'm in if you want weekly access to your own startup coach. Or what if you could learn how to make your app a premium price point? Not a 99-cent app, but like maybe like a $50 a month more premium experience. And that way you would only need 170 signups to make $100,000 this year. Type I'm in the chat to be in for that. And what if you could learn how to build a wait list of 200 plus customers who are waiting for you, like they're already in line down the street before you've even built the app. You already have a wait list of customers. Type I'm in the chat to be in for that. So Apps Without Code Bootcamp, like this program, is about a couple things, but it's about helping you finally build that app idea that you have been stalling on. So some of you guys have had your idea for weeks. Some of you guys have had this idea for months. And some of you have had your idea for years. If you are willing to, I would love to hear in the chat like how long you guys have been thinking about this business idea. Let me know. And so it's about helping you finally build this app idea that you've been stalling on. Some of you guys have been working on this for way too long, right? Also, it's about getting a high quality app without spending tons of time or money or letting someone else take your idea and execute on it first because you took a long time to get to it. Oh my gosh. Okay, Pete, am I saying your name right? 12 years you've had this idea for? Winton says 3 years. Tori says years. Dorothy, 6 years. You guys are doing too much. That's too long. It's too long. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have to get these ideas out in the world. Oh, teacher says years, plus I have a folder of app ideas. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me walk you through what the structure of the program is so that you know. Part 1 is the course. And so what this is there's step-by-step video lessons, tutorials. I have a bunch of templates for you, app guides, like all the stuff. This is the part where I was mentioning all the stuff I wish I knew when I was getting started. That's where all this stuff is bundled in. And so what we're going to do, actually, the structure of the program is going to look like this. So week 1, we're going to start with figuring out the pricing for your app. Like, how much should you charge? Is this a 99-cent app? Could you charge $20 a month? Could you license it to businesses and actually make $10,000 per contract? What are the different options here? And for some of you guys, you have some ideas, but I want to show you all of the options that are on the table for pricing your app. Week 2, we're going to start finding your perfect customers. So for a lot of you guys, there are a bunch of different types of people who will be interested in what you're building, right? There are a lot of people who are interested in this, but there's a couple particular types of customers who are your perfect customers to start with. These are the people who are in the fast lane. They're ready to go. They already are Googling this. They're saying, I wish somebody was building a company that helped me with this, right? Wishing somebody would build this app. So finding your perfect customer is going to do in week 2. Week 3, we're going to pre-sell your app. What I mean by this is we're going to get people to pay you money and sign up before the app is even fully built. Why are we going to do this? Well, because that way you know that when you spend your time building the app, you know that you're building the right thing. There's no guessing here. You already know this because you've got customers lined up. Week 4, we're going to work on your website and your brand. Week 6, we're going to start locking in some of your paying customers. And then we're going to spend week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 actually building your app. So that's the structure of the program. So when you get access to the program, you'll get this access to this online portal as well. This is where all the templates and guides and tutorials are. And they break it down for you in a roadmap of all the steps that you need to take. Plus, I put together all these different little mini assignments and little things for you to do to walk you step by step through the process of starting with an idea and building an app that has customers and is out there in the world. Cool? So that's part 1. Part 1 is the course. Part 2 is the community. Part 2 is the community. So the community gives you this wolf pack of other successful entrepreneurs to support you. But let me tell you why this is important. Let me tell you why this is important. You guys already know, actually. A lot of you guys are around people every day, and all they know is the 9-to-5 lifestyle. Like, they think you're kind of crazy for wanting to be an entrepreneur, right? Let me know in the chat if some of you guys have experienced this, where like the people that you're around, all they know is 9-to-5 job. they can't even understand how to think like an entrepreneur. This whole thing that you're thinking about sounds completely crazy to them, right? So for a lot of you guys, having this, or Arnell says my entire family, Michael says yes, yeah, absolutely. For a lot of you guys, you're around people who just understand 9 to 5. And so having this wolf pack of other people who think like entrepreneurs, who are on the same kind of journey as you, or who have already gone past you a little bit in that journey, is this wolf pack. It's the reason why this is important, having the community, right? So you're around people and you're diversifying kind of the people that you're around. So this is an example of a post. Omar says, immigrant household life. Yeah, right? Risk aversion is a real thing. It really is. Like a lot of people are completely adverse to taking risks. However, you have to be interested in at least some risk if you want to be an entrepreneur. So those things conflict, right? So here's an example of the posts, or kind of posts that are in the community. Shara says, hey guys, I'm about 90% to my launchable MVP. That's the fancy version of her app. How about you? I was thinking we could test out each other's apps in a working session before we actually go public to our audiences. Then we can troubleshoot on that call real time. Maybe we could do it Sunday hackathon style, right? So you have this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs to support you. That's part 2. Now, part 3 is my favorite part of this entire program, and I actually work really hard to make sure that this is part of the program. And for me, it's the reason this program is different. So part 3 is that you get your own startup coach, And so this coach is going to help you if you're kind of veering a little bit, you're going this way, your coach, you go, no, you're going too far to the right, go left, right? When you're going a little bit the wrong way, you don't even know that you're going the wrong way. Your coach gets you right on track. For me, this is the reason why this program is really different, right? Like you get your own startup coach. So this is Charisse. Charisse is an entrepreneur that I've coached. She built an online platform for sci-fi and comic fans. Now, before doing boot camp, Charisse had spent $9,000 trying to hire people to build her app for her. And she still had no app and no customers. After doing boot camp, though, she had a finished app. She had 20,000 customers, and she was a finalist on a TV show called Planet of the Apps. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It has Gary Vaynerchuk and Jessica Alba, Gwyneth Paltrow, Will.i.am, etc. And it works kind of like Shark Tank. So Charisse says, I got a professional developer and spent 9 months and almost $9,000 to get practically nothing. After joining Apps Without Code Bootcamp, within 2 hours, I had built the first model of my app myself. Right? Big difference from 9 months of struggle to 2 hours getting up and running. Right? This is another example I want to show you. This is Ashley. Ashley built an app for schools to hire athletic trainers for their sporting games. So if you're a high school, for example, and you have a football team and a soccer team and a basketball team, you need to have an athletic trainer on staff and on site for those games just in case people need help, right? Or need something. So when Ashley started the bootcamp and started working with me, she had just an idea. All she had was an idea. She hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about this. She hadn't done a whole business plan. She hadn't done any of that stuff. And you don't have to do any of those things before you start. So you start with an idea. Since doing bootcamp, she has 50 customers. She's done $2,500 in revenue, but she did all of that in 60 days. So from complete just an idea, I don't know how this is going to work, to app built in the wild with customers, 60 days. So this is what Ashley's app looks like. If you're a school, you can log in. You can put information about the game that you need someone to work for, so the shift hours, how much you're going to pay them, when the game is, etc. And then you get matched with an athletic trainer who's going to come and work your game, right? So this is what her app looks like. And Ashley says, I personally cannot function successfully without structure, even if that means it will cost money. So from killing it in the gym with CrossFit to joining Apps Without Code Bootcamp, I personally do much better when I have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. A set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. I know for me, I'm the same way. If I don't have a plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with, I'm doing like all sorts of things that like may or may not be all that important. Like I just end up doing whatever comes across my desk. And this is important for a lot of you guys because most of you or many of you have 9-to-5 jobs. You have something else going on, or you have a family, or you have friends in some sort of social life that you want to at least keep some semblance of, right? And so you don't have all the time in the world to be working on the business. And so that means you have to be smart about how you use your time, which means you need to have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with when things get hard, right? So let me show you one more example. This is Brittany. Brittany built a company called MobiDocs, which is an app for pharmaceutical companies to report their drug side effects to the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration. So she has a lot of background in healthcare. And so before doing boot camp, Brittany had spent $30,000 that she'd wasted hiring people to try to build her app for her. And she still had no app and no customer. After doing boot camp, she had a finished app. She had 2 customers, but for her, these are large contracts. They're $10,000 contract at a time, right? So this is the program. Part 1 is the course, the video lessons, tutorials, templates, the kind of guide and roadmap you need to take. Part 2 is the community, this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs to support you. And part 3 is that you get your own startup coach. You get your own startup coach. And to me, that's really why this program is different. So I often tell people, this program is not for everyone, but a lot of you guys are not here by accident. So let me tell you kind of who this program is a good fit for. And I'm going to take some questions too. And don't forget, I'm also, before we wrap up, I'm going to get on the phone with some of you guys and talk through some of your business ideas as well. So this program is created for a couple different types of people. It's really good for subject matter experts, first of all. So if you know a lot about a particular area, you see a big gap in the industry or the market that you think you can fill, it's really great for people who know something about a particular area that they see a gap they want to fill with technology. It's really good for people who know the value of mentorship, So like you yourself maybe have had a mentor before, or you have seen someone else have a mentor and you've seen how well it helped them, right? So people who know the value of mentorship. It's for people who have a burning app idea, like you cannot stop thinking about this thing. It's just like driving you nuts. And it's also for people who are super driven and willing to do the work. So after that code bootcamp, and just to give you context, I often go to Silicon Valley and I train companies and other entrepreneurs on the same stuff. When I go and do that, I charge them starting at $10,000. I'm not going to charge you guys $10,000. But when I go out in San Francisco and I'm doing this training for folks, I start by pricing at $10,000. It's the same training. So there's after that code bootcamp. But one of the things that people often tell me is they're like, hey, Tara, I'm really interested in this bootcamp thing. It sounds really good. It sounds interesting. But I'm kind of worried because I don't have a bunch of money to spend on this startup in the first place. Like just all the things that I need. Like I don't have a lot of money to spend to launch this thing. So if you fit into that camp, one thing I'm going to do one thing to kind of make your life a little bit easier. So when you invest in bootcamp today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. Just one thing less for you to worry about when it comes to getting your company up and running. Now, I'm going to pay for you to use Wix.com for 3 months. And I'm going to get all of this covered for you. So it's free, immediate access to Wix. You can have your website up and running this afternoon, right? Or tomorrow, by tomorrow. And again, that means that you're not Googling how to create a website and like starting from scratch doing this on your own. You're not begging your techie friends to help you, which I know this was me when I started. I was like begging all my friends to help me. It was a little sad. And you're not wasting $20,000 trying to hire someone to build this site for you, right? Do you have to use Wix to create your website? No, of course not. However, one of the things I want to do to kind of just make your life easier is when you invest in bootcamp, I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months, so you don't have to worry about it. Cool? So it's after that code bootcamp, which I usually charge $10,000 when I'm training people to do. I'm not going to charge you that. And then I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, another thing that people often say to me is like, hey, Tara, I'm really interested in doing bootcamp, but I'm kind of worried because I think that my app idea might be complicated. Let me know in the chat if you're kind of thinking this, where you're like, I'm interested in this, but I'm worried that my app idea might be complicated. I might need to do some fancy things, and I'm worried about that. Let me know in the chat if you were in that group. Cool. So for folks who are in this camp, one of the things I'm going to do to kind of make your life easier is I put together this thing called the Advanced App Guide. The Advanced App Guide. Now, the advanced app guide is essentially a guide for doing all the fancy stuff. So you can integrate APIs, you can build sophisticated databases, you can do all sorts of stuff like that. And again, you're not Googling how to create a fancy app, right? You're not wasting $20,000 hiring someone to build it for you when you may or may not get what you want from it. And so you can use the advanced app guide to create all of the fancy stuff. Some of you guys want to do fancy stuff now. Some of you guys are like, well, I'm just going to do fancy stuff later. I don't need to do it right now. But either way, you can hold on to that advanced app guide and use it when you need it. So there's After.Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. And then there's the advanced app guide for doing all of the fancy stuff. Now, the last thing, oh, wait, one more thing. For context, I got my first $300,000 investment with that guide, that advanced app guide. Josh, one of the entrepreneurs that I told you about, he made his first $30,000 in revenue with that advanced app guide. Patrick built his app and had Coca-Cola become his first customer with that advanced app guide. So literally the advanced app guide is like money. It's like money for you. Okay, so the last thing I hear people say is like, hey, Tara, I'm really interested in bootcamp. I'm really excited about building the app, but the problem is that I'm kind of concerned about the other part, like doing sales and marketing to get customers to sign up for my app. Like I'm not a salesperson or a marketer. I'm kind of worried about that part. I'm excited to build the app, but I'm worried about the rest of it. Anyone find yourselves in this camp where you're like, I don't know about the sales and marketing part. I'm concerned about this. Got it. So if you're in this group, the last thing I'm going to throw in here to kind of like make your life easier. So when you invest in Bootcamp today, I'm going to give you my 7-day email list builder. What is a 7-day email list builder? So the 7-day email list builder gives you all of my email marketing templates that you can use to find new customers. So it covers, what do you say in the subject line? What do you say in the email? What do you say when someone replies? How do you even find people to send emails to see if they're interested? It breaks down all of this for you. It's like your marketing roadmap. And again, you're not begging your marketing friend to help you. You're not wasting a bunch of money on Facebook ads that you should not be doing yet. Right? All of these things. It just breaks down all the things that you need. So there's After.Code Bootcamp. Then I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for all the fancy stuff. And the 7-day email list builder for all the marketing stuff. Cool? So as I mentioned, and I actually have a question for you guys. As I mentioned, I usually charge $10,000 when I do this training for people, not charging you guys for that. However, if After.Code Bootcamp helped you take your business idea and something maybe you were thinking it was going to be 99 cents or it was going to be $5, and you could refine through Bootcamp, you could refine your business idea so that it could be a more premium offering, maybe $50 a month. That way you would only need 170 customers this year to make $100,000. Like, would it be worth it? Or if After.Code Bootcamp helped you build an audience and a wait list of customers, like a line of people down the street waiting for you to build this thing, you already have customers sign up, would it be worth it? Or if After.Code Bootcamp gave you weekly access to your own startup coach, so that when you're veering a little bit too far to the right, you don't even know that you are, and somebody can be like, no, you're going too far, go to the left. They can help you get on track. Or if After.Code Bootcamp helped you not waste $10,000 on developers or marketers, would it be worth it? Yes. Because you have a fully up and running business with revenue coming in. Would. So a lot of people are asking me, how much does Bootcamp cost? How does this work? Tell me more about this. So let me tell you this in 1 second. However, I want to say before I show you this, that I have a refund guarantee. So if you do the work and you aren't happy with the program after 7 days, I'm happy to give you your money back. Why do I have this refund guarantee? Because I'm all about people creating generational wealth for themselves and their families. And I'm also about people creating time for themselves, freeing up time and like getting out of this 9-to-5 grind. And so for me, Bootcamp is a way for you to get closer to that and to start accomplishing those things. And if you are not getting those things out of the program, you're not on that track with the program, then I'm happy to give you your money back. So I have a refund guarantee. I like to just share that with folks. So as I mentioned, I often charge people $10,000 when I do this training. It's the same exact training. If you were to go and hire someone to build an app for you, it's going to cost $20,000 to start. But there's 2 options for you for Bootcamp. There's 2 options. So the first option is to do group coaching. These are small group classes that you have access to, and you have your own coach inside of that group class. It costs $1,900 to do that. Or if it's easier for you, you can split that up into 6 payments of $394. Okay, $394. The other option is that you get the group coaching. Yes, you also get that. But in addition to that, you also get one-on-one coaching with your coach. And that's $2,900. Or you can split it up into 6 payments of $580. So these are the 2 options. You can choose which one works best for you. I know that a lot of people have gotten a ton of value out of having the one-on-one coaching so they can directly ask the questions that they need. But some people have a different learning style, and so group coaching also works for you too. So these are the options. We worked really hard to keep this program affordable, to make it not the same thing as like hiring someone for $20,000 to build an app. And the nice thing about this program too is that you have the ability to actually build and make changes yourself. So if you go out and hire someone, you got to keep giving them money every time you want to make a change to it. But with this program, you actually can make all the changes for yourself moving forward. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to put a link in the chat to the bootcamp program so you can check this out. Here is the link for you. Everybody see that? And if the link, for any reason, if you're not able to see it right now, you can go to join.appswithoutcode.com. I'll access it there. Cool. Okay, so let me just show you a couple things, and then I'm going to take questions that you guys have, and I'm going to get on the phone with some of you and talk about stuff too. Cool. So one last thing I want to show you before I start taking questions. Just to be clear, what the heck are we going to do in bootcamp? Well, here's the bootcamp promise. It's 2 things. 1, we're going to build the first version of your app. It's going to be out there in the wild for people to use. And 2, you're going to learn the clear process for getting your first 100+ customers. If you're not clear what we're going to do in bootcamp, this is it right here on the screen. Cool. So you know how they say that the early bird gets the worm? I've heard that phrase before. So obviously I showed you the pricing for bootcamp. There's group coaching, it's $1,900. Or if you want to do the one-on-one coaching, it's $2,900. However, when you pay in full, I have a special bonus for you. So when you pay in full today, I have a special bonus. The bonus today is that when you pay in full, I have a 10% discount on top of all of this for you. So if you do the one-on-one coaching with the group coaching, it goes from $2,900 to $2,610. Or if you want to do the group coaching, it goes from $1,900 to $1,710, right? So there's a 10% discount when you pay in full. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do the 10% discount on the payment plan. However, when you pay in full today, you have that 10% discount. And you can access that 10% discount by typing in the code FAST10. I can type it in the chat, or Taylor can type it in the chat, that code you can use to get the 10% discount. So there's After That Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff, the 7-day email list builder for doing all the marketing stuff, and then a 10% discount on top of all of that when you pay in full. Cool? Okay, so this is the code you can use. It's FAST10 in there, FAST10. FAST10. Okay, cool. So let's take some questions that I have. I'm first going to look at questions people type in the chat, and we'll start there. Adrian says, how many days is the bootcamp? Great question. So the bootcamp is going to happen, your core program is going to happen over 2 months. It's going to happen over 2 months. However, after that, you have ongoing access to weekly classes as an alumni. So whenever you have a question, something that pops up, you want some help with marketing, you want some help with business development, you want some help with sales, you want some help with building the app, there's something that's not working for you, you need code management, all those sorts of things, you come to the class as an alumni and you have access to it. So it's a 2-month program, but you also can come back as an alumni and access to alumni classes. Okay, Kay says, or Kai, is it Kai or Kay? You gotta tell me which way to say it. If I already have a website built and running, would I have to start it from scratch to launch an app? No. So we're actually going to build, a website is different from the app. So we're going to build your website, of course, so people can know about it. But we're also going to have an app. So if you already got a head start on the website, great, that's no problem. But we're gonna spend most of our time on the app. So if you already have a website, that's great and perfect. You're not gonna have to start from scratch. No. Although I would say I'd be open to some of the things you might learn in bootcamp make you make a couple updates to the things on your website, but you're not gonna start from scratch. No. Omar says, do you start bootcamp anytime or is it a scheduled cycle? Great question. I think Taylor actually just answered your question, but I'll say it out loud anyway. So as soon as you sign up, there's going to be a calendar of dates that you can use to choose which date you want to start with. So you'll be able to choose the date that you want. So there'll be a schedule. Okay, Dorothy was saying, I lost connection. How much is it? So there's two options for you, Dorothy. There's, if you want to do, let me actually go back so you can see it. So if you want to do group coaching, it's $1,900. Or if you want to do the group coaching plus also one-on-one coaching, it's $2,900. If you want, you can split those up into 6 monthly payments, either $394 or $580. Cool. Also, Adrian has a really good question. Is this bootcamp interactive meeting or via meeting room like this, or is it a classroom setting? Ooh, great question. Okay, so it's not like this, where, because right now you can see me, but I can't see you. So it's not like that. All of your classes are going to be, your coach will be on video, but also you'll be on video too, so you can directly talk to them instead of having to type it. Does that answer your question? So it'll be interactive. Yes. Okay, Bree says the link is only taking me to group coaching. I prefer one-on-one. Let me just show you really quickly how to find what you're looking for. I'm just going to go to the site real quick so everybody can see this too, because this may help. So if you scroll down, what you can see is, and you can pay with any card or PayPal too. You have two options. So you can do After That Code Bootcamp, that's the group coaching, or you can do one-on-one coaching. So if you want one-on-one, just put 1 here, and then you'll put the FAST10 code. Wait, I think it's all caps. FAST10 in here. And it'll process your discount for you. There it goes. All right. So just make sure you put 1 next to the one-on-one coaching, and then you can sign up. And if you're looking for the payment plan, it's right down here. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So a couple people are also asking. I'm getting a couple variations of this question, which are, when is the deadline to sign up? So first of all, there's a couple fast action bonuses. There's that FAST10 code. So if you want those bonuses, you want to get in immediately. However, also you have until Sunday to make a decision. That's when enrollment closes, on Sunday. So you have a couple of days to make a decision. If you want those fast action bonuses, you want to sign up now with that FAST10 code. Cool. And actually also, I have already, is it Yoni? Yoni and Danielle have both signed up. Really excited to work with both of you. So tell me in the chat why you guys decided to sign up. I would love to, I'm excited to work with you guys. Cool. Okay, other questions. So to be clear, Ariana, can you sign up for the bootcamp at any time? No, you have until Sunday to make a deadline. And I'm not sure when we're gonna have the next class. I actually don't know. We likely will not have any new classes added this year. Okay, or early next year, not sure. Okay, Maribel has a question. So do you guys build the app or do we learn how to make an app? Please answer, I'm driving. Yeah, so I'm gonna teach you how to build the app. Why am I gonna do that instead of me building the app for you? Well, because let's say that a year down the road or 6 months, you launch the app and in 6 months, people give you some feedback and they say, oh, we love this part, but we wonder if you could make some changes here, right? You wanna be able to make the changes yourself. If someone builds the app for you, you have to keep paying them and keep paying them and keep paying them and keep paying them every time you want to make a change. For most entrepreneurs, it's not sustainable. So I want you to learn how to build it yourself. It's very easy to do. We'll teach you. I'll walk you through the entire process. And that's why the classes are nice too, because you can come on video chat. You can say, let me share my screen. I'm going to show you my site. This is exactly where I got stuck. Can you help me? All right. Cool. Okay, awesome. So other questions that folks have. Let me see some other questions. And then if not, then I'm going to give a couple people a phone call. But let's see. Let me see what questions I missed. Avery says, will this help me with my delivery service? Yes, you can definitely build a delivery service app. Absolutely. Bree, were you able to see the one-on-one coaching option? I think you found it now, but let me know if you're still stuck on that. Grayson, am I saying your name right? You said, do you help refine the idea for profitability? Yes. So I'm really big on, I talked about this earlier, making sure that you have an app that also makes money, right? These two things have to go together. It's not just build an app that doesn't make any money ever, right? So what we're gonna do, actually, the first 2 days of boot camp, let me back up. Boot camp is designed for people who are working 9-to-5 jobs. You already have something going on. So you're not gonna have any classes except for, the only classes you might have are gonna be on weekends or evenings, and you'll be able to choose your own schedule, right? The first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna get an all-day Saturday and all-day Sunday coaching session. Like you're gonna get a whole weekend of training and coaching, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna refine your idea for profitability. It's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna make sure you have a clear plan, you know your marketing plan, you know exactly how to get to the customers. We're gonna spend a weekend on this to start to make sure that you are 100% set and ready to go. So yes, we're definitely gonna help you refine your idea for profitability. That's the first thing we're gonna do. Okay, Sharon says, how often do I make the payment? So there's monthly payments. So when you sign up, it's just a monthly payment plan for 6 months, and then it ends. Okay, other questions. Let me see what I missed here. Okay, Denzel asked a question about, is the patent included? And some other people were asking too about how to protect your idea, all those sorts of things. So here's the thing about legally protecting your app idea. I'm gonna tell you 2 things about this. First thing you should know is, so yes, I'm gonna point you to the right direction of how to find lawyers to help you do this work to get protected. However, I recommend that you wait to do any sort of protection, legal protection on your app until you started making some money with it. Why do I say that? Well, because when you go in and you do a patent or a copyright or anything like that, you have to write in exactly what you are protecting, exactly step by step what you're protecting. Now, the thing about the first couple months of launching your company is you're going to be changing a lot of things, right? Like you're going to be learning, you're going to get feedback, things are going to change. And it would be really a shame if you spent money on the legal stuff to patent or protect or copyright something specific and then it changed. So I recommend that you do that a little bit later, but yes, I'm going to show you some of the resources you can use to do that for free, get lawyers for free. Okay, I think I've answered most of these questions that I missed. Okay, so let me catch up with folks about other questions. So again, folks are asking about the schedule for enrolling. You have until Sunday to make your decision, and that's the last date for you to make your decision. However, you want the fast action bonuses, you want to get in now. Okay. Cassandra says, how long will apps without code last throughout the life of my business? Would I eventually need to invest in an app with code? So Cassandra, this is a great question. There are a few people in bootcamp who a couple of years later, they decide to move to code, and they do that when they have funding and when they're making a lot of money and they make that decision, right? For most people, you don't need that at all. Most people end up being able to stay for the duration of their business on a code-free tool. They're very robust. Raven says, when's the deadline to join? The deadline, let me put it up on the screen, is Sunday at midnight Pacific time as the deadline. Cool. Maribel has a question. So who makes the app? Wait a minute. Who makes the app? Do I make the app? Do you make the app? You are going to make your own app. Why are you going to make your own app? Because that way you know how to make changes to it for yourself. You have the self-sustaining skills. If I make your app for you, you have to keep paying me to make changes to it. I don't want you stuck in that. I want you to know how to make changes to your own product. Cool. And enrollment is going to close on Sunday. Closes on Sunday. Okay, other questions. Oh, Lauren says, what if I have a partner that I want to do this with? Is it shared costs? So you just need to pay tuition for your company. So you don't need to double up and have 2 people. Does that make sense? You just pay once. And I recommend, Lauren, that you have one person be the core go-to person who gets the coaching. There will be some times where both of you can come, though, but I designate one person to be the main person. Okay, other questions. Okay. He says, how do I get the marketing mentoring a la carte? So unfortunately, After That Code Bootcamp is the only program and coaching that I offer. I've packed it with all the things that you need to know. So the marketing stuff, the product, all of it in there, but there's not an opportunity to do them separate. Cool. Okay. And again, it's join.appstothatcode.com is what you need. Okay. All right. So if you would like for me to give you a call, you'd like me to give you a call where I talk about your idea, let's talk about this. So type your phone number into the chat if you'd like for me to give you a call. I'm going to put you on speakerphone. Other people will be able to hear. We're going to talk through your business. It'll be helpful for a lot of people because they'll be wondering some of the same things. To answer some more, Cassandra says, what's the difference between code apps and no code apps? The only difference is how you build them, with code or without code. One of them you build with code, the other one you build without code. That's the difference. One of them is way easier to build. One of them takes about 2 years for you to get good enough to build. Okay. And to be clear, I am not sure that we will have any additional sessions in 2019. I don't know that that's going to happen. So a couple of people are asking me, when are we going to know about upcoming classes? I actually think we have a lot of full classes right now, and so there's going to be a close of enrollment period. Okay, so type your phone number into the chat if you would like for me to give you a call. Lonnie had a question, how do I get items copyrighted? I kind of answered that question a little bit earlier, so I think you got the answer. You want to, first of all, wait until you're making money with your business. Why? Because you may change the things that you copyright. Imagine designing a logo, you get it copyrighted, and then you get feedback from your customers and they say, oh, we wish the logo was a different color. Now you got to do the whole copywriting process all over again. Okay. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Oh, Robert had a question. Have you ever had app ideas that weren't viable, like they didn't work? Ooh, this is a great question, Robert. So, there's no such thing as an idea that's like a bad idea. I don't believe in it. I do think that there are ideas where people are not willing to pay you for them. And there are ideas where the business model doesn't get you to the kind of life you want to live as an executive or as a CEO, right? Those are the two options, right? So what happens is there are lots of people who join bootcamp and they realize that the way that they have it structured in their head is not going to get them to what they want. Or the way that they have it structured is not going to be the thing people are willing to pay for. And so what we do in bootcamp is we help you kind of twist the Rubik's Cube a little bit to get it so that you have the right product market fit. So it's this process of iterating on the process and on the idea that you have to get it to be the right thing for your audience. And we're going to spend a lot of time on it. So it's not like yes or no, your idea was viable or it wasn't viable. We're going to tweak it to get it viable. Does that answer your question, Robert? Cool. Okay. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give Lauren a call first. So Lauren, do me a favor. I need to put your computers for anyone who I call. Please put your computer on mute so that there's not weird background noise when I call you. Otherwise, there's weird stuff. And also, let me see here. A couple people just signed up. Thomas and Jessica just signed up. So really excited to be working with both of you guys. And also Tanya. So let me know in the chat why you guys decided to sign up. Let me know. I'm excited to work with you. Okay, so I'm going to give Lauren a call. Lauren. And again, put your computer on mute so there's not weird background noise. Make sure I'm typing your number correctly and not calling some random stranger. Okay. Hi, Lauren. How are you? This is Tara Reid.
Good. Hi, Tara. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So it would help me if I could just understand a little bit about what you are building or what you want to be building. So my first question for you is, who would the target customer be that would be using this as your customer? Who's your target customer?
Okay, the target, our demographic or target market is basically youth ages 13 to 26 that are from underrepresented areas. So that falls into three primary categories, which is middle school age kids, high school age youth, and then anyone who's collegiate age and then right after post-graduation if they're going into their first career or looking to transition into a different field or something like that after maybe their first year in the workforce.
Great. That's awesome. I just want to commend you for that. A lot of people tell me when I ask them, like, who's their target customer, they're like, it's everyone. Everyone in the world is my customer. And that is not how you should launch. So I'm glad that you know this. I'm glad you know this. And I would say, I always tell people the riches are in the niches. I would push you a little bit more you told me middle school, high school, and collegiate. If you had to pick one of those to start with, which would you start with?
If we had to pick one to start with, I would probably say middle school age kids because we're really, like I said, we're targeting kids that are from underrepresented or underprivileged backgrounds who don't have access to the same resources and opportunities that their peers may.
Yeah.
So really middle school age kids are during that formative age. So we're really trying to kind of grab them and expose them to some positive outlets early on so that they can make it to that collegiate stage or an entrepreneurship or some type of vocational training that's going to help them be either professional, successful professionally or academically. So probably that is true.
Got it. Great. The reason I'm saying that too is because if you, let's say you went out and you were to launch a website, the website you launch for middle schoolers is going to look really different than the one you launch for college students. Like it's just going to be totally different. The language would be different. Whatever you create for the middle schoolers, the college students are going to think is totally dumb and vice versa, right? So this gives you a specific place to focus. We sometimes forget that, like when Facebook launched, it was just for Harvard students, and then they expanded. Or when Uber launched, it was just in one city. So this is good. Let me ask you one more thing on your target customer, though. Middle school students are probably pretty broke, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it middle school students who's your customer or middle school parents who's your customer?
So actually, that's a great question, Sarah. So who's really our customer are the organizations and the schools that we're going to be working with who are going to be charging to use our app and to use our service. So really, we're not trying to charge the kids at all because they are. So we're wanting to charge these organizations with a similar mission to our own to utilize our service on our platform.
Okay, so let me ask you this question again because the customer is the one who hands you the money. So who is your target customer?
Target customer would be schools, organizations, and businesses targeting you.
Got it. Can we pick a particular type of organization so we can get you focused?
Yeah, let's say a school institution. Let's say schools.
Got it. Middle schools.
Middle schools.
Got it. Okay, good. Okay, and so my second question for you is, what is the worry sentence that you're solving for these middle school, principals or administrators? They're sitting down and they're saying, I'm worried that what?
What are they worried about their own students?
Yeah, so every business is solving a worry sentence for your customers. If you're not, then there's some trouble. You're not solving a problem. But I think you are. And so your customer is the person who works at the school saying, I'm worried that what? What are they worried about?
They're worried that their kids aren't graduating, their kids aren't attending universities, and their kids are going down wayward paths.
Got it.
So that's the way that we're solving.
Got it. I'm worried that my graduation rate's going to suck.
Exactly.
Got it. And let me push you a little bit more on this. This is a good example of kind of like what it looks like to have a coach too. What happens if their graduation rate sucks? Like, how does that impact them?
As a school, it gives them kind of a bad brand and a reputation, and people don't want to send their students there. And it also may decrease their funding, or they may get shut down, especially if they're in a lower socioeconomic area. Yeah,
I bet that's probably like, I'm worried we're not going to get any renewed funding because our graduation rate sucks. That's a clear problem. Exactly. Got it. Okay. And what are they spending money on already to solve this problem? By the way, for folks who are listening, you should be asking yourself these same questions as we're going through these. A lot of you have to think through these questions too. So, okay, what are they spending money on already to solve these problems?
They should be spending money on either educators or some type of resources to bring in so that they're having higher retention and so that kids are actually learning while they're in school.
Got it. Is there a particular role?
Programs, things like that.
Got it. Is there a particular role of someone whose job it is to make sure that there's a retention rate, a good retention rate?
I would imagine whoever's whoever the dean or the board of directors is over the school.
Got it. A dean or a guidance counselor or something like that.
Yeah.
Got it. How much do you think? Do you think these schools have guidance counselors?
They should. They should. I'm actually from DC. Most of them should. Some of them not always do, and some are not free.
Okay. How much do you think they pay a guidance counselor, approximately?
Not a lot. Underpaid.
Give me a number. $20,000 a year. $30,000 a year.
25 to 35,000 a year. Under 40,000.
Under 40. Okay. So they're spending $25,000 to $30,000 a year to solve this problem. How much do you plan to charge? And Trick, don't tell me anything that's way, way, way below something in that 20,000 range.
Don't tell you something like that?
No, because they're already paying that to solve their problems, and they're fine paying that.
Yeah. I would say for the middle school level, probably around $20,000 a year for a contract or for every 2 years.
Yeah. I'd say a year.
A year. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Cool. Okay, good. Good. So this just gives you kind of some examples of some of the things that are like the first things we're going to look through just to make sure that you've got a really clear grip on this. And I actually walk people through this activity to make sure that they're not underpricing themselves based on what people are already spending to solve the problem.
Okay.
But this sounds great. Okay, do you have a big question for me that you need solved, or did we answer it already?
That was actually extremely helpful. I guess if I could ask you a question, I would say, since I did say in the beginning that we are targeting middle school, high school, and collegiate institutions, and the way we're trying to roll that out is into an app, so that way once you log in and you say who you are, you set up your profile and you show what your age is, the app is going to look different for you depending on the user. So from an implementation standpoint, how do you think is the best way to roll that out? Do you think it's best to maybe roll out at a few middle schools, a few high schools, a few universities when we launch, or just kind of start in one place?
I think you should spend your first 3 years on middle schools. Get this to like a $13 million business for middle schools, and then you can add on.
Okay.
There's a lot of middle schools with underrepresented students. It's a big market. And the riches are in the niches.
Okay.
Cool. This is awesome. I would love to help you build this too. So I'm excited to work with you if you're interested, and we will talk some more. This is not our only conversation we'll have.
Yes, definitely. My partner was actually on earlier, but she had to go to another meeting. So I'm definitely going to be giving her the recap of the ending, and we will be talking to you very soon.
Cool. Sounds good. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Thanks so much. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Okay, good. So this gives you a kind of a structure. You should be asking yourself these questions too. Wait a minute. Who is my target customer? Is my target customer a niche focus? It should not be everyone in the world should be your target customer. If you have marketing budget to market to everyone in the world, by all means, go do it. But most people do not. I don't even have that kind of budget. So you want to pick a specific focus to go after. We forget that when Facebook launched, it was just for Harvard students. There were a total of 4,000 people in the entire world who could use the app. And then they expanded and they grew. You can send an email and say, hey, everyone, thanks so much for being a little customer. I now want to let you know that we serve more schools. Or now I want to let you know that we're all over the country. You can grow it as you go. But start specific. The riches are in the niches. Okay. Let me call someone else. Let me see here. Amanda, I'm going to give you a call next. You said you only have some preliminary thoughts rather than a formal idea. That is totally okay. You can totally start boot camp, by the way, with just some ideas. You don't have to have it fully thought through. I'll help you think it through, if that makes sense. And sometimes it's actually easier to do the thinking through with someone as opposed to doing it all on your own. All right, Amanda is for anyone who I call, put your computer on mute so that there's not the weird background noise. It does this weird squeaky thing. Nobody likes it.
Hello?
Hey, Amanda, this is Tara Reid. How are you?
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh, you can't hear me?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me? No?
I can't hear you.
Okay, let me try back again, Amanda. I'll try back in a little while.
I can see you talking, but I have my screen muted.
Make sure your audio on your phone is on. Okay. All right. We'll try again. I'm gonna try again after I call a couple people. Okay. Sorry, Amanda. All right. Let me try one more person. Adrian. Let me try Adrian. And by the way, before I do Adrian, I'm gonna answer a couple questions that are in the chat. Jonathan says, "What if I'm already contracted with an app developer? Like I'm already working with someone." So, Jonathan, are you locked into that contract, meaning you can't do anything else? Tell me more about that contract you have. That'll be helpful for me. But I would say it's not a bad idea to also work with an app developer. Here's the thing about the app developer, if you already were working with one. It's going to take them a couple months to get this created. It just is. Even if they say it's going to be done in a couple weeks, there's always the back and forth. You have feedback. It takes way longer than you think. So what you can do is you can build the first version of it, start getting money, start generating customers. You can do bootcamp, create the app yourself first while they're working on the next versions. And you can tell them all the insights that you learn from your customers, and that way you use your kind of resources with them and your time with them well, because you already know that they're going to be building the right things based on the feedback. So you can definitely do that. And there are some people, by the way, who do bootcamp. Maybe they themselves know how to code, or they already have an app developer. They're not going to build it without code, but they still do the programs that they learn the structure of how to build, how to think like a product manager, how to run a tech business. Okay. Sharon also had a question that I'm going to take. Sharon says, can someone take your idea? Ooh, this is a great question. I want to address this. So, yeah. Like at any point, at any time in your life, someone can take your idea. However, let me say this. You should assume that there are already at least 15 people out there who already have your same exact app idea. The idea is not worth anything. It's not worth anything. People already have the idea. In fact, when you start Googling around, you probably are going to find some other company who's doing something similar. That is not a bad thing. That is a good thing. If there are people who are already working on it, already thinking about it, that tells you that there's a market for it. But let me tell you the difference between them and you. There are maybe other people who have your idea. They already have that idea. They're sitting on the couch watching TV right now, and you're in a workshop figuring out how to make progress with this. That's the difference. The difference is in execution. It's execution. Most people don't ever execute on their ideas. So I see a lot of people, they spend a lot of time like, oh, I don't want to tell anyone my idea. I don't want to tell anyone my idea. And what happens is they miss out on all of the opportunities to launch the idea, get collaborators and partners and customers. They miss out on all of that because they're so worried about somebody knowing their idea. Your idea is already out there. Assume it's already out there. Now it's your job to execute on it. And in order to execute on it, you have to start talking about it. You just do. Does that make sense? Sort of? Okay. All right. Let me give someone else a call. Ashley says, what if your only plan to charge is a dangerous zone model? We'll get it out. So we're going to spend the first 2 days of bootcamp making sure your business model is going to work. That's what we're going to spend time on. So we're going to work on that. I bet there are a bunch of things that you're seeing or you're not seeing on how you can monetize this in a different way. And I'm going to show you those things in bootcamp. Cool. Okay. Jonathan said, oh, okay, so you have someone building your app for you. He's building it, but you have so many more tools and ideas, and you still want to work with us. Yeah, I would love to work with you. And again, like there are other people who build with code and do it that way. Uh-oh, am I frozen? Uh-oh, let's see. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. You can. Okay, I just froze for some people. Okay, not sure what happened there. Let me turn my camera off and on for some people who are having issues. Okay, all right. You can hear me. We can hear you, but the screen is frozen. All right, I'm just gonna keep going and we'll just leave the screen frozen, but if you can hear me, you can see my screen, that's what's important. Okay, all right. All right, let me give one more person a call. Let's see here. Adrian, I said I was going to give you a call. So Adrian, mute your computer so we don't have weird feedback. And here we go. Oh, it didn't want to call Adrian. Let's try it again. I don't know what happened to my phone. The crazy thing about doing this live is that stuff happens. Let's try again. I don't know why I thought this is funny.
Hello?
Adrian, how you doing? This is Tara Reid.
I'm doing good, and you?
Good. Okay, so I'd love to hear a little bit about what you want to be working on. The first question I have for you is, who's your target customer? Who is this for?
Okay, my target customer are like strip clubs, club promoters, event planners, people that need models, dancers, spokespersons, they're special guests. So my idea is...
Okay, wait, hold on a second. Can you pick one of those for me? Like, which one would you focus on? You gave me a whole list of people. If you had to pick one, which would you focus on? That also works too. You can shoot me an email. And you can also, I'm going to put it in the chat, but you can just reply to the last email that I sent you, and that will work.
Okay, sounds great.
Perfect. Okay, sounds really good. I love what you're building, by the way. I'd love you build this, and I think your just next step of homework to do is to go investigate that. And you can do that in boot camp. You don't have to have that figured out already.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate the enthusiasm, and I like what you're offering, and I look to continue growing the relationship.
Cool. Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Okay, bye.
Okay, sorry about that. I know you guys missed a piece of that call. I just had to hit refresh. I don't know what happened. Can you guys see me now, though? You can see and hear me and see if everything's back. Okay, you guys missed the whole talk. I know. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one more call. And then if you have additional questions, you can type them in. Or if you can shoot me an email. You shoot me or Taylor an email. Taylor's here in the chat. So you can email taylor@appster.code.com. Taylor's very fast on the email. Or you can just reply to the last email that I sent you. You just reply to the last email, and that'll come to me too. So Taylor and I will answer your questions. Let me do one more phone call. And if you want me to call you, because I had to refresh, I need you to retype your phone number into the chat if you want me to call you. So type it again if you want to call. If I did not call you, I need you to retype your number. Okay, Avery. Avery, I'm going to give you a call. All right. Here we go.
Hello?
Avery, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good, and yourself?
Good. Okay, so I'd love to hear a little bit about what you're working on and building. Who's your target customer?
Well, you said we had to narrow it down, so I was just kind of thinking about that.
Yeah.
And maybe small businesses or like college students.
Got it. Okay. If it were small businesses, what kind of small businesses are you thinking?
I haven't specialized in like what small businesses, only because like I've done some work over at Amazon where I was like a logistics manager, dispatcher.
Yeah.
And what I like about their system was just the like same day delivery, and then being on the inside, being able to see how they're making it happen.
Okay. So small businesses that do same day delivery?
Yes, I wanted to tap into the whole same day delivery, but I wanted people to not only have that service provided through Amazon, because then it's like you only can purchase on Amazon.
Okay.
Everyone, may purchase from other places, but other places may not deliver.
So if I were you and I were choosing between small businesses being my customers and you said college students?
Yeah.
I would choose small businesses because college students are broke.
Makes sense.
That's where I would go to focus. And I would ask myself, what are the kinds of small businesses that do same day delivery? I'd make a list of them and then choose one type of business that does that.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. And do you have a big question for me?
Well, my first big question, I guess, you kind of did answer, which was like, the service that you're providing, would I be able to build a logistics/delivery app? That was answered yes.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm not sure of a question, but my ideas is just more so like how I would like for the app to run.
Yeah, yeah. No, this makes a lot of sense. So what will happen in boot camp, just for clarity, is we're going to spend the first 2 days working through all the details of how it'll work. So that way you have a full plan. And then we'll start executing on the plan. So you don't have to have it all thought through. The level of like thinking it through that you have now is really good. My homework for you is to find a niche where you want to focus and just to start with. It doesn't have to be where you end with, but a type of small business you want to start with.
Okay.
Cool. Nice.
All right.
Good
Thank
job.
you. That's great. I really appreciate the phone call. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Then you go ahead.
Of course. Okay, so this won't be our only conversation. We'll continue to talk, but really excited about what you're building. It sounds cool. And I think that there's a big market of people, that a lot of people are doing same day delivery. So this is good. And we'll chat more about it.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. Have a good one.
Same to you.
Okay. So we are going to wrap up. However, if I did not answer your question about your business, question about boot camp, question about what do I do next, all of that stuff, please send me an email. Like right now, send me an email. There's no such thing as a stupid question. So my email, or you can email Taylor at appster.code.com. She put it in the chat. Or you can just reply to the last email that I sent you, and that'll come to me. Cool? So Taylor and I will get your questions answered. You can go to join.appster.code.com to sign up. Put in that code FAST10 for your discount code. And then you have until, those are the fast action bonuses, but you have until Sunday to make your full decision. Okay, let me know if you have questions. I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye.